Here we are inside the Adria Twin 640. If we firstly come to the main control panel just here, we can press the button and turn the 12 volt on. If we have main supply connected to the van, we will get this symbol here. If I now rotate, we can see how much fresh water is in the tank, and if I press the button now, we can then turn the water pump on and off. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. Next we have how much water is in the waste tank. Condition of leisure battery and condition of vehicle battery. Beside the main control panel, we then have the Truma heating and hot water control panel. We turn it on just by pressing this button here. And again, it will let you know if you have main supply connected to the van. If we now press the button, we will then get a series of icons, and as I rotate, they will begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon just here, this is for your heating. Click and you'll see at the moment the heating is off. Now rotate and pick whatever temperature you would like, and it will go all the way up to a very toasty 30 degrees. So let's say for a moment we want it to be 30 in here. Click to store it in and you'll see the little flame has appeared above. That little flame there just represents the heating system and is just letting you know you have set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, that little flame will then begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it has achieved the temperature you have asked it. The thermostat is just here. If I now rotate to the next icon, this one here is for your hot water. So again, if I now click, hot water is off. Rotate, and we can heat in eco mode, which will give us a temperature of about 40 degrees. We can heat in hot, which will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees. And we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having a shower in quick succession of each other. If you do perform the boost and the heating is running, it will turn the heating off as it needs to use that extra power. And again, the icon will continue to flash until the temperature you have asked it is achieved. After heating and hot water, we then have power source. So we are currently using mains electricity using 2 kilowatts. If I rotate the button, we can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt. So if we're on a low amp site, to stop ourselves from tripping. We can run in dual fuel, so we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 2. Or a mixture of gas and mains at 1. Dual fuel is extremely handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. It only uses gas as it is required. And if we have no main supply at all, we can solely run on the gas. After power source, we then have the circulation fan. So currently the fan is in eco mode. We can turn it up to high. And what we can also do with this fan, if we now turn everything off, is we can use it to vent. Fan speed of 1 to 10. So on a warm day, if you just want to circulate the air around, next we have a timer. So firstly, we just set when we would like the timer to begin and then end, and then we just literally select what we would like on within that time period. Timer on, timer off. If I now activate the timer icon will then come up there, and within that time period those settings would now apply. If I now select it again, we can turn the timer back off again, and when we return we can then alter it. Next we have the clock set. And then lastly we have the settings menu. So within the settings menu we have offset just for the thermostat up here, so if you don't think it's quite correct you can just adjust it by a few degrees. Temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen, 12 or 24 hour clock. Language, index, this is more just for the technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And full factory reset. From time to time these will throw up error codes. A lot of the time it will be basic stuff. For instance, this in a sense is connected to the main control panel, so if I now turn off the 12-volt system, this will then throw up an error code to let us know that it has lost 12 volt. As soon as I rectify the problem, the error code will then just disappear. So 9 times out of 10, as long as you rectify the problem, error code disappears. Sometimes this isn't the case, and you may need to just, if you think you've rectified the problem, then just double click on the error triangle again and it will then say no error and disappear. If that doesn't work, if you still have stuff running along the top here, just turn them off, because again the control panel can sort itself out a lot quicker when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If this still does not work, I then say do the old-fashioned turn it off, turn it back on again, and the way we turn the control panel completely off is just by holding the button in. If when you turn it back on you still have the error code, I always then suggest doing the factory reset, because occasionally from time to time these units can just glitch. If the problem is a gas issue and you've tried to reset it a few times, it will then lock itself out for 15 minutes. You will get a little 15-minute countdown timer and it will not allow you to do anything until it has reached 0. We have light switches just here, so we have the awning light here, and then we have the dimmable lighting just here. So all we do is we just hold the button in to dim up and down. With the bottom lights, you will find that they are on rocker switches, and if they're in the 1 setting, they're just in this full bright setting, and if they're in the number 2, that then allows you to dim them. We have the hob just here, just push in, twist, and then just press the igniter. And we then have the oven and the grill. Push in to the left for the oven. And then if we then go back to off and then push into the right, we can then fire up the grill. We also have a light as well. We then have a drawer beneath. And then tucked up the top here, we have the gas isolation taps for heating and hot water, and the oven and hob. They're all in the on position, and I always just advise to leave them alone. If you do smell gas in the van, it's always just advisable to go to the bottle itself and turn it off just there. we have storage in the floor just here, and then if we just remove the cushion just here, we have the Truma combi boiler just here, and also tucked down here you will find the trip switches just here. So if anything's not working on mains, just come to this point here to check that you have not tripped. We can also control the flow rate for the heating just here. To drain the boiler down for winterization, the drain valve is just here. These are automatic, so if the temperature around this area drops below 3-4 degrees, it will automatically open itself and drop all the water out of the boiler to frost protect itself. If we are manually going to drain the system, what we need to do is firstly make sure the water pump is turned off, and then come to this blue diamond and twist it. When I twist it, a blue button is going to pop out at the base of the unit, and to close it back up again, twist and press to reset. If this auto drains, all that will happen is the blue button will pop out and you just need to press it back in to reset. If it will not stay in, it's just too cold in the van and you will need to turn your heating on to generate some heat to allow it to reset. Another reason why the blue button will not stay in is if the blue diamond is not in the correct position. When you are fully winterizing the van, it's also advisable to flap up this lever just here as well, because it will aid in releasing airlocks in the pipework to allow the system to drain down better. It's also advisable to open up all the taps in the van as well, because again it will then release any airlocks. Next we have the 12-volt compressor fridge, on and off on this button just here. Currently in eco mode, so will not use as much energy. Tucked down at the bottom here, we then have standard temperature control. If we then want to go back to eco, just press the top button. We then have the freezer box just up here, and then to turn the unit back off again, just hold the button in. We then have another drawer beneath. We now have the fit for toilet. To open to the cassette, just slide the grey lever across just here, and then to flush, just push the blue button. And then close back up again. If this has not been closed and you try to remove the cassette, it will not come out. So if you are feeling resistance, just make sure that nobody's left the flap open. Level indicator just here. This will rotate round to red to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. We then have the drop down basin. And then just tip back slowly. And then we have storage here and up here. Light switches just here. So this one is for the toilet, and then this one here then illuminates the shower cubicle. So we have the shower cubicle just here, mixer tap down here. Just make sure that the shower screen is basically clipped back for travel. We then have the rear bed just here, and if I just remove this part of it, we can then see the top of the fresh water tank just here. And to drain the fresh water tank down, all we need to do is just twist just here, and we can also gain access to the top of the fresh water tank just here if we want to add cleaning powders, etc. just to it. This whole middle section here can be lifted up and folded out of the way to give additional space. And we have two drawers just beneath.